Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're all having an amazing day. It is October and I thought that would be the perfect time to start my true crime series. My very first case is going to be the Aniah Blanchard case. Now, I just want to start off by saying, I mean, no disrespect whatsoever to anybody involved in this case, to Aniah's family, to her friends, to anybody who loved and cared about her. This video is for educational purposes only. If I get any information wrong, please let me know down below. So with that being said, let me get right into it. Aniah was born on July 22nd, 2000, and she is from Homewood, Alabama. Her mother's name is Angela Harris, her father is Elijah Blanchard, and her stepfather's name is Walt Harris. Aniah was a college student. She went to Southern Union State Community College, and she was so kind, warm-hearted, genuinely such a good person. Her father said she had a heart of gold and that she was always willing to help somebody in need. She was just somebody you can lean on, somebody you can trust, someone you can just know that she would be there for you no matter what. She was just a very, very caring person. Her friends said that her smile was infectious and that she would just light up any room that she walked into. And anybody who knew her would be considered to be one of the luckiest people in the world. She was really the definition of a true friend and just an all-around beautiful person. On October 23rd, 2019, Aniah and her brother went to go visit her mother and stepfather in Auburn, Alabama. They were just having a typical family night. Aniah ended up leaving a little bit early because she was saying she was feeling kind of tired and she just wanted to go home and go to bed. Before she left, her stepfather said, you know, maybe you should have your brother drive home since you're going home together, or she was gonna drop him off. But since they were leaving together, it would be a better option if he were to drive, because if she was tired, she doesn't want to fall asleep at the wheel or like that. It was just a safer option if her brother were to drive. But, you know, Aniah said, no, it's okay. You know, I don't live very far. I'm going straight home. He's there with me. Like, it'll be okay. I'll be fine. So he said, okay. And they left. Aniah dropped her brother off. And her brother actually stated that her phone was dying. But they didn't really think anything of it because she was on her way home. She was just going to go home and go to sleep. You know, she was only maybe a few miles from her house. They all lived pretty close together. So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. He didn't really think too much of it. That night, Aniah's roommate texted her and asked her where she was, when she was gonna be home, things like that. And Aniah said that she was out and she was with somebody named Eric, whom she had just met. That night, Aniah's mother noticed that her phone went black shortly before midnight. The next day, there was still no word from her. She never came home. Her roommate didn't see her. They didn't see her car anywhere. It wasn't parked outside. Nobody had heard from her. Her phone was still off. It was still dead, and just nobody knew where she was at all. And so from that point, her friends and family reported her as a missing person. One of the first things her family did was check her credit card statements to see where the last place she went was, and they saw she stopped at a Chevron gas station that night. And the police went to go review the footage from the Chevron gas station, and when they reviewed it, they saw that Aniah did in fact go here that night. They saw her on camera, they caught her on the footage, and they saw her just walking through the store. On October 26th, police received a call from a resident in a Montgomery, Alabama apartment complex who stated there was a suspicious vehicle in the parking lot and she wanted some officers to come and check it out. When they arrived on scene, they saw it was a 2017 black Honda CR-V. And they were able to determine that this was Aniah's vehicle. When they first got to the car, they saw there was extensive damage all over the exterior. There was scrapes on it, scratches. It looked like they maybe like swiped up against something. When they opened the car, that's when they noticed how serious things really were. They found a significant amount of blood in the interior of the car. The car was examined by Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences, and October 31st, 2019, they determined that whoever's blood that was, which they were later able to determine it was Aniah's, definitely sustained a life-threatening wound, and was now considered to be a victim of foul play. And from that point, they declared the car a crime scene. Now that they had found the car, they realized just how serious the situation actually was. Not that they weren't taking it seriously before, but just, you know, they went from a missing person to now a possible homicide. Now at this point, since it is becoming a possible homicide, they try to start looking for suspects. They try to see who could be involved in this case. And they remembered that Aniah stopped at a Chevron gas station on the 23rd, the night that she went missing. So police went back to review the footage, and they saw there was a man in the store at the same time as Aniah. Witnesses say they saw Aniah and this man speaking, and it looked like he was maybe asking her for help, asking her for something. They didn't really say exactly what they were talking about. On November 6, 2019, police released a footage of the man, and he is described as being in his early to mid 20s, around 200 pounds, in between a 5'6" and 5'8". On November 7th, they were able to identify this man, and his name was Ibrahim Yazid. At the time of Aniah's disappearance, Ibrahim had been released on a $295,000 bond. His charges included kidnapping, attempted murder, robbery, and possession of marijuana. And this was in relation to a crime that was committed in January 2019, where he was accused of beating two men in a hotel room, and one of the men he almost beat to death. On November 8th, this is all happening very quickly at this point, at around 2:30 a.m. Ibrahim was arrested in Escambia County, Florida. He was listed without bond because he was considered to be a fugitive wanted in another state. Ibrahim was supposed to have his court hearing, or his preliminary court hearing, in Florida, but they extradited him back to Auburn. On November 12th, Ibrahim is back in Auburn, and a court orders him with no bond. They said due to his extensive history of violent crimes, the fact that he was already out on bond at the time of Aniah's disappearance, and the fact that he fled to a different county, a different state, was more than enough evidence for them to say no to the bond. Now, this entire time, there was a Texas-based nonprofit organization called EquiSearch who was searching extensively for Aniah. But unfortunately, on November 13th, they were forced to call off their search because they had just exhausted every available resource they had. They just didn't have anything left. They were unable to find her. On November 22nd, there was a second suspect who was arrested, and this man's name was Antoine Fisher. Antoine was charged with the kidnapping and disappearance and death of Aniah. On November 25th, in a wooded area off of Highway 80 in Shorter, Alabama, there were some remains found. It was later confirmed that they were that of Aniah's. Now I'm just going to jump back to Antoine's court hearings and things like that for a second. Less than 24 hours before Antoine's preliminary hearing, Lee County Assistant District Attorney Garrett Saucer filed a motion to dismiss the case. District Attorney Saucer said that Fisher was an accomplice to Ibrahim, and at this point, Ibrahim had been charged with 2 counts of capital murder since Aniah's body was found. Antoine was alleged to have disposed of evidence and provided transportation to Ibrahim. Now, the investigation revealed that Antoine wasn't actually present for the initial offense. District Attorney Saucer also said that since Fisher's involvement in the case did not happen in Lee County, it would make this another county's jurisdiction completely. Now, this case was dismissed with prejudice, which means that they cannot charge Fisher with anything having to do with this case in Lee County again. On November 25th, there was a third suspect who was arrested. His name was David Johnson. David was charged with hindering prosecution and Aniah's investigation. Now, it is said that David lied to police about his son's whereabouts and involvement in the case while they were searching for Aniah. According to court documents, Ibrahim visited David's home on November 7th while they were looking for him, and witnesses say that they saw Ibrahim walking around outside with his shirt off, a gun tucked into his shorts, and they said that he was talking about how some girl reached for his gun, so he shot her. Court documents stated that David said that he saw Ibrahim leaving earlier that day with an unknown white female. It was later revealed that David Johnson's son, David Johnson III, drove Ibrahim to Florida that night on November 7th, where he was arrested the next day, November 8th at 2:30 a.m. Now, so far, David Johnson Jr. David Johnson III, excuse me, has not been charged with anything in regards to Aniah's case. At this point, Ibrahim is still in court, and in a press conference on December 2nd, Lee County District Attorney Brandon Hughes said that he will seek the death penalty for Ibrahim. Ibrahim faces 2 counts of capital murder in Aniah's case. Ibrahim was accused of shooting Aniah in her car. At first, there was witnesses who say they saw Ibrahim forcing her into the car, but then police detective Josh Mixon testified that Aniah did in fact come into contact with Yazid at the gas station and that they did leave together. Mixon said that Aniah and Ibrahim left the gas station together and actually went to a second gas station, and that Ibrahim left the car, went in by himself, while Aniah remained in the car in the driver's seat. Then they said that he came back and then they left. Ibrahim's attorney said there was no crime committed in Lee County because her car was found in Montgomery and her body was found in Macon County. But since Yazid met her in Lee County, gave her a false name, Eric, and basically just led her on under false pretenses, by extension the crime was committed in Lee County. Ibrahim was charged with 2 counts of capital murder in the Aniah Blanchard case. This case is very, very frustrating, and my heart just breaks for her family. Aniah's parents, her friends, her family are all working on something called Aniah's Law. This law will prevent violent criminals from being able to post bond. Right now, they can only deny bond in capital cases. And that's all I have for you guys right now. I hope you enjoyed. Please, please, please be safe out there. Don't talk to strangers. Don't go and hang out with people you don't know. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you want to be notified when I post more videos like so, you can hit the post bell notification down below. I don't know what side it's on. This is my first video. I'm still new. But it's going to be somewhere down there next to the subscription button. Please like, comment, subscribe. And if I missed anything, if I got any information wrong, please, please, please let me know down below. I don't want to get any information wrong. This is a very important case. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, and you make a difference in this world just by simply existing in it. So I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.